All right, welcome to Chapter 5, Section 1 in Algebra. Today we are talking about inequalities, and this is super important because they like having you solve equations, but they really like having you solve inequalities. So you kind of need to know what this stuff is about. So make sure you have this written in your table of contents, and we are going to turn to page 54 and 55. All right, so 54 is actually going to go on this page, and I'm going to do it on this little half sheet of paper. So I'm going to write on this page just because it's going to be a little easier for me to write on that surface. And today we are talking about inequalities. Now, hopefully you know what an inequality is, but if you don't, we're going to go ahead and define it. So an inequality is an open sentence that contains this symbol, this symbol, this symbol, or this symbol. All right, so, oops. I obviously don't want you writing the words this symbol, but we need to know what these words are. So you remember how like when you were a kid, let me back out just a little bit. When you were a kid and you'd hold your fingers up like this to know, oh, the one that makes the L is left. Well, if you take the left and you squish it, it looks like this one. So left, that's less than. So if I was reading that, I would read this as less than. And if the one that's the L makes the less than, the other one is greater than. And if it's got this solid line underneath it, then it means or equal to. So it's going to be, trying to get it zoomed. There we go. So this is the less than. So it's going to be less than or equal to. And this one has the greater than. So it's going to be greater than or equal to. All right. So that's what those symbols, that's how you read them. Now, something else new that you're going to be dealing with some this year. And this is just more, math, learning how, the symbols, what they mean, what they are. So we're going to look at set builder notation. All right, so set builder notation is supposedly a more concise way of writing a solution set. I never thought it seemed super concise, but I guess when compared to all the words that it's taking up, then it is. So we're going to now do several examples, and we're going to have our answer in set builder notation. This is going to be particularly helpful for Algebra 2, just so you know. So if I have this, m plus 19 is greater than 56. Now I'm going to solve this just like there was an equal sign there. So really, I'm just going to draw my little line through the inequality symbol, and I'm going to look at the side with the letter. Right now it's plus 19, so the opposite's going to be minus 19. And then on this side, the 19s cancel, and it's m. The symbol doesn't change if you're just adding and subtracting. And then 56 minus 19 is 37. Okay. Now, if I was going to write this answer in set builder notation, it would be this little squiggly line, and then an M, and then a straight up and down line, and then that M greater than 37, and then end squiggly line. That's what set builder notation looks like. This is what it means in words. The set of all numbers M, because the M's are variable, the set of all numbers M such that M is greater than 37. So that's what all of that means. And I want y'all to get used to writing the set builder notation. So really all it amounts to is these two little squiggly lines, the letter, and then the straight up and down, and then your actual inequality. But this is how you would read it. So if I were to see this, I would go, oh, well, that's the set of all numbers M such that M is greater than 37. Now, if I was going to graph this, I'm going to have a number line, and at 37, which that's actually going to be the only number I'm putting on there right now, that's where I'm going to start graphing. Now, if I have just a greater than or less than sign, I'm going to use an open circle. If I have greater than or equal or less than or equal, I'm going to have a colored in dot. Now this one is just greater than. So it's going to be an open circle on that number. And then M is greater than that. And so greater is going to be on to the right. Left is always littler. Right is always bigger. So that's how I would graph it. So that one's done. So that's going to be what's on page 54. So now I'm actually going to glue that down. If you were just writing on page 54, that's fine. So now we're going to do a few more examples. So if I have this, x minus 12 is greater than or equal to 8. Once again, I'm going to draw my little line. I'm going to look at the side with the letter. The opposite of minus 12 is plus 12. So I end up with x on this side. 8 plus 12 is 20 on this side. And the sign, anytime I'm adding or subtracting, the sign never changes. So now in set builder notation, squiggly line, x, straight up and down line. Now this x is greater than or equal to 20, end squiggly line. And if I were to read that, it would be the set of all numbers x such that x is greater than or equal to 20. Now, if I wanted to graph it, 20 is in the middle. Because there's an or equal to, that makes it a colored in dot, and x is greater than, so I'm going off to the right. Now, if I have this, 3x is less than negative 18. Once again, I'm just going to build my little, draw my line. This is 3 times x. If I have a number and a letter right next to each other, so the opposite of multiplying is dividing. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. And so this side just has x. Negative 18 divided by 3 is negative 6. If I am dividing or multiplying both sides by a negative number, then the arrow just stays the same. So now the set builder notation is the squiggly line, x line. X is less than negative 6, squiggly line, which is read the set of all numbers x such that x is less than negative 6. Now the only thing left is to graph it. So here's -6. This is just less than, so it's going to be an open circle. And you need to be careful to make it so you can see the difference between the open circle and the colored in circle. And X is less than or littler than, so I'm going to the left. All right. And to be perfectly honest, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a different video to finish with the multiplying and dividing. But just know that anytime I add or subtract the same thing to both sides in an inequality, it does not change the arrow. Everything, you just solve it like normal. And we're going to finish page 55 at a or at a later time, probably the next day of notes. So, but those should be pretty quick notes, but that's all we're going to do for today. The answer to the next question is penguin. All right, see y'all later.